Hello, it's Paula here. Thanks for joining me again. Today we are talking about the fourth different aspect of the mystery bag that we haven't yet covered, and that is using up some of the beautiful different ranges of paper that's in your kit. So this month, for the next 3 months, we have got 3 different paper suites that are available to you in our new book. We have got a very delightful French botanical style one, which is called Cossette, and this is just one sheet from it that you received in your pack. The second one is called Hey Handsome, which is definitely a lot more masculine and a lot more textured oriented. And the third one is called Hello Darling. So as you can see, it's a bit more celebratory. It's got stars on that side, and it's got a really formal stripe on that side. So those 3 sheets came into your kit, and what I am suggesting you can do with that is follow a scrapbook pattern. Now I have actually recreated the same layout 3 different times with those 3 different papers, and the layout that I used was this one here that came from Erin Jacobson. She is part of the creative design team, and she put this one together as part of a challenge, sort of celebration challenge that they were doing. It's a great sketch because it is very generic in the use of sizes. So I've actually just put my own sizes on here as to what you can use from your paper to cut it. So as you can see here, I've actually said 6 by 12 because I've pulled my piece the whole way along to add a few extra photos in. Same on this side, 6 by 12. So that's just really one sheet cut into 2 for that big stripe across. Then we've got our panels above and our panels below. And these ones above on this left-hand side are 5 inches. So they're both 5 inches. This one's 1 3/4 inch. This is 1 1/2. And on this side, it's 7 inches. By 1 3/4 and 1 1/2. And those are the only measurements you need to remember for this layout, which makes it a really easy one to get started with. So I've taken that one and I've created 3 different variations. Today I'm going to show you how to create the one that uses the Hey Handsome bulk piece. They're all the same approach, the same style, you're following the pattern, but this one is just one that I thought would be quite fun to work with because we haven't addressed it yet in any of the other videos. So when you get your Hey Handsome sheet, you have got a zip strip up the top and then a 12 by 12 piece. So what I would suggest you do is cut that zip strip into a 2/4 inch pieces while it's still attached to the main piece. So pop it into your trimmer and trim off, first of all, 1/4, which would be this amount, and then trim off another 1/4. I'm not actually going to do that because this is actually someone else's kit that I'm playing with and showing you here, but I will show you the rest of it. I have got some spare zip strips available in my stash that I can use for the same purpose, or I've also actually got a couple of 1/4 inch strips like what I'm suggesting, but this has come from the paper itself. So I've got a few other options to do with my little demo today, but you do have that lovely black and white zip strip along the top. So now to get prepared, we need to first of all create our own piece of paper. So this is where you need to go to your stash and find a light coloured paper that might tie in with your paper set. So what I'm recreating is this wood grain effect all the way across. So what I did is I grabbed the mink paper, and I'm going to do some scoring on it using the back side, which in this case is the darker side because I want the lighter side up. And I'm just going to do scoring randomly along. I've shown this idea to a few of you. It was a fabulous one that came from a maker in our closed maker Facebook group. And it just means that whatever cardstock you're working with, you can turn it into wood grain whenever you wish, if you've got the ability to score and the ability to have run some ink over the paper. So as you can see, I'm just sort of randomly finding patches on this to score, trying to make sure it's straight. This was a slightly wider one. Sometimes I go a bit closer together because wood panels aren't necessarily all perfectly in sync. So as you see, I've gone all the way across. So I'm just now going to turn this over, and on my all-purpose mat, where it's a nice flat surface that I can easily wipe clean, I'm going to grab a colour that's in the range called rosemary. Now I could have gone with mink on here and that'll be a lighter effect, I could have gone with a charcoal colour. I could have gone with harbour. In fact, harbour would look quite beautiful. We could even try it today, but this is harbour or rosemary. The one that I used in my example is rosemary. Let's actually use harbour just to be a bit of a devil with it all. And you can see as I swipe along, I'm getting the effect of wood grain. So easy. So there we are, we've got that. I'm just going to grab a cloth to wipe my mat. I forgot to bring one over, so let's just get that cleaned up because we don't really want to get harbour ink on everything else we create today. And this is where the all-purpose mats are perfect. So as you can see, it's all ready to go now. I've wiped it and I've dried it so we can carry on. So this here now is our wood grain that we're going to use through the centre of our design. Now I think I'm going to have my wood panels going upright across the page, so I need to cut it in half to make my 6 by 12 inch panel. Pull it around, and that's going to be through the centre of my double page. Right, now the next thing we need is a backing piece, and with this paper, if you look at the zip strips, they do suggest that White Daisy is a good max, so you could go straight away to White Daisy, or I could bring in a really deep shade and bring in Harbour or black or a grey or whatever in the backdrop. So let's go crazy. Let's just have a little look-sees. I'm going to put that against it. I think I might bring in some more, I could bring in some more mink or some Harbour. Let's just pull out some. Right, Harbour was the first one I found, so I'm going to go with Harbour. So there is our Harbour. We can go the lighter shade or the darker. I much prefer the darker in this instance. We're going to pull this through the centre, and it's going to look pretty fine all the way across with that wood grain effect in the middle. Now the next thing we're working with here, just pull that to the side, is our strips. So as I said in my design, in my pattern, we've done our 6 by 12 inch strips, and now we've got a 5 inch strip and a 7 inch strip, which makes 12 inches. So we're going to be cutting a 12 inch strip by 5 so that we've got 7 and 5 on the two sides. So I've got a 1 3/4 inch wide one and a 1 1/2 inch wide. So I'm going to grab my trimmer and just go with a 1 3/4 inch strip and cut off 5 inches. And then with the 1 1/2 piece, we're going to cut off 5 inches as well. So straight away, I've now got those aspects of this layout complete. And we are ready to start decorating with our photo mats, our photos, and all the rest of the bits and pieces. As you can see, I've switched over my bulk piece. I had this one in my example earlier, which looks pretty fine too. I could stick to that. I was just wondering whether I should bring in a bit more of the Harbour. They both look pretty cool. And then I have got a zip strip tucked in, you know, that 1/4 inch that we just cut underneath the two different panels. If I went this way, I could pop those ones in. Or I could flick it over and I could use those ones, which I also had available. What do they look like if I flip it over? I think I quite like that. So I'm just going to go with this because I've got these zip strips. I'm going to pull it in. There we go. Just to show you a different way. So that's the starting point for your layout. Now in your kit, I'll just bring the pattern back again, but in your kit you'll remember that you've seen a little collection of stamps. Now these stamps came from this fabulous little set called Hey Handsome Scrapbooking. It's got these 4 different titles as well as some very awesome sort of pattern pieces in there. A little camera, star, an arrow, another star, and then this sort of background style. They're actually slightly larger if you see the true genuine size. And there's also thin cuts to match with all those titles. So I've pre-done the work for you here, and I've pulled out a little piece that I had pre-stamped with all the bits in it. So I've got some of that pattern piece, I've got a camera, got arrows. I've just done a bit of overlapping, which means that could fit beautifully over there. I've also got a title, which you might want to pop on there, or you've got another title saying looking good, which could also pop over here. So you've got a couple of options for your piece. And then I created a few other little bits and pieces for you to use for your decorating. So let's bring in the genuine piece. I've done this one. I chose to put the fresh humour on the side, and then I used the looking good on that side, and then I used a few of those little tags that came in that pack to tuck behind a bow. So see here, we've got some little tags. We can pop those up there. They would go in that spot there. And then we've got this little bow. Now this bow actually came from the Cossette card making kit. But as you can see, you just layer it all up, stick it together in the middle. You've even got a little piece here that goes over the top of the whole lot to make it look like a little string winding around. And that creates a cute little bow, which I tucked up over there on my piece, as you can see. And then I've got this little piece element here that if you wish to have a bit more texture, you could pop that in, tuck it in, cut it out and tuck it in behind your photo. So you can see where all the little bits and pieces can go. They're all available for you to play around with. And this pattern works beautifully to show off just an element of that paper and pulling in some of those different embellishments. So let me just show you the other examples. We've seen them once or twice before. This one here was the Cossette version using the Cossette paper, and I used toffee ink on toffee cardstock to create that wood grain effect. And then the other one that we looked at with the balloons, I didn't use wood grain at all. I just kept it white, but again I've striped through the bulk paper from that range, from the Hello Darling range, and used a little quarter strip of the paper on the back. So there's a few different ideas for you for using up your big pieces of paper, using up that beautiful little pack that you've been given with all those little titles on it, and also having a bit of fun embellishing with the bows and the tags and things that come out of the Cossette card kit. So many possibilities. It's a fabulous layout pattern, and I'm loving how different it looks with all of your different papers included. Hope you enjoyed seeing that little project, and we'll have one more project for you following.